Imagine standing at the door of death, not as a nightmare, not as a tragedy, but by choice. Most people spend their entire lives running from this moment. One boy walked toward it, alone, hungry, without fear. And death, the one force that has never lost, never compromised, never negotiated, was not prepared for him. This is the story of Nachiketa, a 12-year-old boy from ancient India, who asked death a question so precise, so fearless, that death tried to bribe him into silence. He refused. What he received in return has never left humanity. And by the end of this video, you will understand why. We live in a world that is afraid of one question. Not a dangerous question, not an impossible one. Just this: who are you? When everything is taken away, not your job title, not your relationships, not your bank account, or your reputation, or the stories people tell about you. Who are you? Most of us never ask. We stay busy. We stay distracted. We stay comfortable. Thousands of years ago, in the forests of ancient India, a boy named Nachiketa couldn't stop asking. His father was a respected man, a Brahmin named Vajrashravas. One day, Vajrashravas performed the Vishwajit Yajna, a grand sacred ritual, the kind that required him to give away everything he owned. People gathered from across the land. Sacred fires burned. Priests chanted. From the outside, it looked magnificent. But Nachiketa noticed something no one else did. The cows being donated, they were old. They had given their last milk, drunk their last water, eaten their last grass. This was not generosity. This was performance. And a 12-year-old boy saw it clearly when every adult in the room chose not to. He walked up to his father. "Father," he asked quietly, "to whom will you give me?" His father ignored him. He asked again. Silence. A third time. "Father, to whom will you give me?" Exposed, embarrassed, cornered, his father snapped, "I give you to death." The crowd assumed it was anger, words spoken in a moment of irritation, already forgotten. But Nachiketa took them seriously, because to him, truth was not optional, even when it was terrifying. And so he left. He set out to find the house of Yama, the Lord of Death. He arrived, but Yama was not home. No servants greeted him, no food, no water, no welcome. So Nachiketa sat down and waited. One night passed, then a second, then a third. 3 days, hungry, alone, in complete silence, at the entrance of death's home. Think about that for a second. Most of us can't sit in silence for 3 minutes. We reach for our phone. We turn on music. We manufacture noise to avoid being alone with ourselves. Nachiketa sat in silence for 3 days, at the gates of death, and did not move. When Yama finally returned, he was troubled. In the ancient tradition, a guest left unfed and unwelcome for even one night was considered a serious breach of sacred duty. 3 nights. Yama bowed his head and said, "Young Brahmin, you have waited 3 nights without food or water in my house. I offer you 3 boons, 1 for each night. Ask for whatever you wish." 3 wishes. from death itself. Most people at this moment would ask for wealth, or long life, or power. Nachiketa asked for something else entirely. For his first boon, Nachiketa asked simply, "Let my father's anger be gone when I return. Let him recognize me. Let him welcome me home with love." Granted. For his second boon, he asked to learn a sacred fire ritual, one that leads toward liberation. Yama taught him every detail, and the boy mastered it so perfectly that Yama named it the Nachiketa fire in his honor. Granted. Then came the third boon. Nachiketa looked at death and asked, "When a person dies, some say they continue to exist. Others say they do not. Tell me the truth. What happens after death?" The room went still. Even Yama, the god of death, paused. Then he replied slowly, "Even the gods have debated this. It is subtle. It is difficult. It is not easily understood. Ask me for something else. Ask for wealth. Ask for kingdoms. Ask for 100 years of life. I will give you anything, but not this." Nachiketa didn't move. "If even the gods debate it," he said, "who else but you could answer it?" Yama looked at the boy for a long moment, and then, for the first time in the story, he decided to test him. Death offered everything. Long life, wealth beyond imagination, power over kingdoms, music, beauty, every pleasure the human heart could dream of. He spread it all before the boy like a feast. "Take all of this," Yama said, "but do not ask what lies beyond death. This is not just an ancient story. This is the choice most of us make, every single day. We choose distraction over understanding, comfort over truth, the pleasant over the meaningful. We accept the offer. We take the entertainment, the short-term pleasure, the easy answer, and we never ask the question that matters." Nachiketa looked at everything laid before him, and he said, "All these things are temporary. Pleasure fades. Wealth never fully satisfies. Even the longest life eventually ends. How can temporary things satisfy someone seeking what is eternal? Keep your gifts. I ask only for the truth." For the first time, death smiled. The boy had passed. Not a test of intelligence, a test of wisdom. And then Yama began to teach. He said, "There are two paths in front of every human being, the path of the pleasant and the path of the good. The pleasant asks, what feels good right now? The good asks, what will still matter tomorrow? Every day, every hour, you stand at this fork. Not in some grand, dramatic moment, in ordinary choices. Do you face the difficult conversation or avoid it? Do you build something real or scroll through someone else's life? Do you sit with your own thoughts or drown them in noise? The pleasant is not evil, but when it becomes the ruler of your life, you wake up one day and realize you have been avoiding something important for years. Then came the deeper teaching. To explain what a human being actually is, Yama offered a metaphor. The body is a chariot. The sense are the horses. The mind is the reins. The intellect is the charioteer. And deep within, seated silently in the chariot, is the self. Imagine powerful horses pulling in every direction. One toward pleasure, one away from fear, one following old habits. If the charioteer is asleep, the horses decide everything. This is how most people live, pulled by impulse, reaction, endless distraction. But when the charioteer is awake, reins steady, eyes clear, the journey gains direction. Not perfection, direction. And then Yama asked the question, who is holding the reins of your life? Because your answer determines where your journey leads. Then he revealed the core of everything. He said, the self is not born, and it does not die. It was never created, and it cannot be destroyed. Now, before you dismiss this, listen to what he was actually pointing at. Think of a movie screen. Thousands of stories play across it. Joy, loss, victory, failure, love. Yet none of those stories leave a mark on the screen itself. The stories come and go. The screen remains. Now consider your own life. You have felt happiness, grief, success, humiliation, love, loneliness. Everything has changed. And yet, there has always been something present to witness it all. Think back to your earliest memory. Your body was different. Your beliefs were different. Your entire understanding of the world was different. Almost everything has changed. And yet the awareness looking through your eyes then is the same awareness receiving these words now. That is what Yama called the Atman, the self, not the changing story, but the awareness in which the story appears. And this realization changes everything, because most suffering comes from confusing yourself with things that change. I am my career. I am my reputation. I am my relationship. And when those things are threatened, you feel as though you yourself are threatened. But what if they were never the deepest part of you? What if they were experiences passing through awareness, rather than awareness itself? This does not mean life stops mattering. It means you can love deeply, without being destroyed by loss. Work passionately, without making your worth dependent on outcomes. Face difficulty, without becoming it. That is freedom, not escaping life. Understanding your place within it. When the teaching ended, Nachiketa sat in silence. He had arrived at death's door with a question. He left with something that cannot be taken away. The ancient text tells us that he returned home, and just as Yama had promised, his father welcomed him with love. But the greatest gift was not the reconciliation. It was what Nachiketa carried inside him, a knowing that the deepest part of who you are was never in danger. That is why this story has survived for thousands of years. Not because it gives information, but because it points toward a recognition that is available to every person willing to look. Here is what I want to leave you with. Every day you play many roles: professional, parent, partner, friend, provider. Those roles matter, but they are not the whole of who you are. Beneath every role, beneath every achievement and every failure, there is something that has never depended on any of them. Something untouched by success, untouched by failure, untouched by what others think of you. The sages spent centuries trying to describe it, and every description falls short. because it is not something you need to create, or find, or earn. Only notice, in the stillness beneath the noise, in the awareness that is present right now, even as you watch this. Nachiketa asked Death, "What is the truth of who we are?" And Death answered, "You are not merely the body that ages. You are not merely the mind that worries. You are not merely the story of your past. You are not merely the fear of your future. You are the awareness in which all of these things appear. The greatest mystery is not what happens after death. The greatest mystery is discovering who you are before death ever arrives." Nachiketa found it at the house of death, thousands of years ago, and it is here, right now, in you, waiting to be noticed, not found, noticed, because it was never lost. If this story moved something in you, share it with one person who needs to hear it tonight, not to spread content, but because somewhere right now, someone is sitting in the dark, wondering who they are without the thing they just lost. And this answer has been waiting thousands of years for exactly that person. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. The next one goes even deeper.